So in my conversations with women recently, it feels like there's this common problem that they all keep coming up against. And it's knowing what goals to focus on first. It's feeling really overwhelmed and frazzled because, women, when we create this big life and grand vision, we have to start somewhere. And I think so many women feel like they're getting in this confusion of where do I start? What goal do I pick first? What's the most important thing? So in a sense, it's prioritization of our goals and what's important to us. And so I want to share with you, there's this one powerful question that a mentor asked me years and years ago. And it has helped me gain so much clarity and knowing what to work towards first. And the question is, what is your next level of freedom? Just your next level of freedom. And so I want to take you back a little bit because sometimes it's not as big as what we think. Yeah, we're going to go and we're going to build this big, beautiful life, but what's the first action? What's the first goal moving us towards that? And so when you ask this question, it might just help your focus. So for me, I remember one of my very first levels of freedom was actually being able to go through the checkout, buying my groceries, and not having the card decline. That felt like a next level of freedom to me. I remember thinking to myself, oh my gosh, how do I just earn enough money where this isn't a problem? Where I don't have to go through this feeling of stress or feeling of embarrassment because my card is declining. I remember that. It was awful. That actually was my next level of freedom at that time. It wasn't saving the world and feeding all the children in the world. I couldn't even think that big. I just wanted to be able to pay for my groceries. That was my next level of freedom that I wanted to achieve. And so when I knew that's what it was, I got to be able to make decisions and take actions towards creating that little bit extra money, so that was no longer a problem for me. And then I'd ask myself again, well, what's my next level of freedom now? And I remember it. It was to be able to go on more than a 2-week holiday and not come back to my bank account being zero. Like that didn't feel very free to me. It didn't feel free that that's all of the holiday I got out of 365 days was 2 weeks. And so when I got clear on, hey, that's my next level of freedom, then that helped me focus on, well, what do I need to do to create more? So I created a plan around how to achieve that. And then it was, how do I get out of this corporate gig? Because it didn't feel very free just being in the 9-to-5 grind, having to be on someone else's watch. So my next level of freedom became, hey, how do I take my time back? How do I create time flexibility in my life? And then it continued from there. When I got some time flexibility in my life, I was like, okay, what's my next level of freedom? And for me, it became geographical freedom. So in my late 20s, that was my focus. How can I live anywhere in the world at any time of my choosing and still earn an income? And so my plan became around how do I create that and make that goal become real. And then as I moved through that, my next level of freedom changed again. Of course it did. And then every time I would feel unclear, I'd just ask that question again. Okay, now what's my next level of freedom? And for me, it became creative freedom. As in, hey, what kind of business do I want to build? What kind of impact do I want to make? Who do I want to work with? And that's when Women to Wealth was born. And now it's changed again. If I ask myself, what is my next level of freedom? It's family freedom. I'm thinking about, okay, I want to start having kids soon. What do I want that life to look like? What would feel free to me? And then what's that going to take? Because that's where my focus needs to go now. That's where I need to create a plan. That's what, when we get really clear on that, it helps us know what to say yes to and what to say no to, because we're clear on what's my next level of freedom, and we work towards that. So if you're feeling overwhelmed and you've got all of these big goals and dreams, which I love, by the way, but you're not moving towards any of them, I want you to try this question on. Just ask yourself, okay, what is my next level of freedom? Then that becomes your priority. That becomes your focus. And that's where you create a plan.